Hey, good day, guys. This is Key, and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to talk about something today that has been plaguing the social media spaces when it comes to authentic creators, and that is the degeneracy that is pushed, sensationalized, and promoted on social media spaces. So, one of the first things that I wanted to do, um, I asked ChatGPT to give a short summary of what the degeneracy is doing to the creative space in regards to authentic creators. And this is what it had to say. Degenerate content creators often prioritize sensationalism, shock value, and controversial themes to capture attention in an increasingly crowded social media landscape. This emphasis on provocative content can overshadow authentic creators who focus on meaningful, educational, or artistic expression. As audiences gravitate towards the more extreme and outrageous, genuine voices struggle to gain visibility, leading to a homogenized content environment where quality and authenticity are devalued. Consequently, the proliferation of degenerate content creates a barrier for creators who seek to share thoughtful perspectives, making it challenging for them to stand out and connect with their intended audiences. Ultimately, this dynamic can stifle creativity and reduce the diversity of content available online as the metrics of success shift away from merit and substance towards fleeting trends and attention grabbing antics. Now, like most of you, I love to be entertained, and I can say that I have participated and partook in my own fair share of degeneracy. But do you ever feel at some point when you're watching it that it's like you need to decompress from the actual content? Something that is supposed to allow you to enjoy a good laugh or, enjoy entertainment, and it's as if you have to decompress from it. Like you have to find something else to do in order to regulate your either your emotions or your hormones. I don't know exactly what specifically it is affecting, but it like brings you at this peak of some sort of feeling that makes you say, or even like a stress level, I guess you could say, that makes you feel as though you have to decompress from the actual content that you're consuming. And what I notice and what I find specifically on YouTube, like the algorithm is going to algorithm. And I am okay with that when I'm looking for, or I'm looking to stay on certain trends. However, it's only so many videos that you can watch in regards to one specific topic. So, for instance, the whole Kendrick Lamar versus Drake beef, I found myself like running away from said content. I was like waist deep in it, y'all. So so along with the rest of the world, I was waist deep in it, taking in the content. I love to see, you know, a lot of the hip hop and battle rap creators kind of like get their shine, and I was all for it. But at some point it just became repetitive because then you have, like I said, the commentators of hip hop. You have the the commentators of battle rap. You have um, these faceless chat GPT automated videos. You have other just random content creators creating videos about it because that's what's happening today. Um, and it just kind of gets very overwhelming for me specifically. And I don't know if anyone else feels that way at times, but it's like I have to decompress. Like, and in order to decompress, like I'll put on like some classical music. I'll watch one of those slower paced content pages that has absolutely nothing to do with nothing. One of the content creators that I watch, in moments like that happens to be Emmy Made. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but she like tastes fruits, different fruits, or she does different like cooking challenges, but she's very even keel. She's just a calm soul. And, I tend to gravitate more towards those sorts of channels when it's time for me to decompress. Because here it is, you know, throughout however long the content lasts, and watching, you know, 20 videos, back to back to back. I mean, let's not act like YouTube has not turned into TV, okay? So, just watching that much content back to back to back, it became very overwhelming. Like I was going to sleep and waking up to Kendrick Lamar and Drake beef. And maybe that has a lot to do as well with just the dynamic of it being, well, I wouldn't want to call it low vibrational, but drama filled, which ultimately, drama and arguments and, you know, certain sense of competition, it can be seen as low energy. Um, but just in taking all of the content and being invested, because eventually you get invested. Okay? I mean, the best of us, the worst of us, we all get invested, and especially when the whole entire world is talking about it. We get invested. So, back to the topic at hand, a lot of degenerative content also does that. So, when you have these weird and outlandish challenges, or people making a mockery out of Black culture, Black women, Black men. And for the love of God, these relationship podcasts, all degenerative, all of it. And it's like once you click on one video, YouTube just takes you for a joyride in that realm. And I really wish that YouTube would become more like TV in the sense of, when you're watching a TV station or so on and so forth, all of the shows are not particularly the same. But in the world of YouTube, they try to drive you home on one subject. And it's like no matter how much you try to get away from it, it's always popping back up in your algorithm. I have to be subscribed to all of 200 channels, and that's just me being modest. And it's like if I start watching one creator, that's the only content that will flood my recommended. It's a little different on the phone because I can just keep refreshing, but mostly I watch YouTube on my TV. And even when I go all the way down to the bottom and I try to refresh, it'll still pull up a lot of the same videos. But outside of that, what is it about us that draws us in to degenerate content? I understand the shock value, and you know, you'll have people talking about taboo subjects and so on and so forth. And yes, it is an attention grab. And I guess that's what makes the most sense. It's an attention grab. It captured your attention. You stayed, you watched. We all know that our phones and so on and so forth are watching our eye movement when it comes to, what we stop to pause and to review, even if we don't click it. And the next thing you know, you're seeing like 2 or 3, 4, 5 more videos of the same sort of content. So, that's without saying. However, it is not it is not conducive to a healthy mindset. It is not conducive to expanding our mental state as people. It literally says, okay, this is what you like to watch. Let's watch more of it. Let's watch more of it. And as a result, you have new creators coming up. You have creators that are really putting in a lot of work with quality content, and they don't get or receive half of the views. Because what YouTube or the other social media platforms ends up doing is, yeah, you watch this particular content creator that talked about self-improvement, so on and so forth. But what I know you for, and what I know you for watching for a very extended amount of time, is this. So here's a distraction. I'm going to distract you from this particular content. I may go ahead and feed in another 1 or 2 videos that may have done well with this particular content creator. However, it has nothing to do with the subject at hand that you were necessarily watching. But let's see if you just like the creator. And if you don't click on those videos, or you're not searching on that creator's page for related content or so on and so forth, it's like it forces creators into a niche. It forces creators into a niche. It forces you to stick to what you know. It forces the views in a particular direction, and we all lose. The creators lose. The people that are taking in the content, we lose. Because there's a lot of times where I just say to myself, hey, I want to see something new or something that I haven't seen in a while. And what it's going to do is just give me Drake and Kendrick Lamar. And it's like, how do I get out of this algorithm? I wouldn't mind seeing it, as the things develop or so on and so forth. But it's like, man, how do I get out of this algorithm? Like, what is it going to take? I've watched 12 different sources of content, of all types of subjects. And it's like, why am I still stuck in the Kendrick and Drake universe when it comes to content? Have nothing against the content creators that are creating the content, because I get it. Now, as far as those that go off on a limb to be degenerate, I do have a problem with that. When it comes to these relationship podcasts, I wish they were banned. I wish that Meta or whomever would just come up with a ban of that content. But it does so well. And I quite literally on all of my platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever other social media platform that I may use, whenever I see it, even if I don't click it to watch it, whenever I see it, the relationship podcasts and such, and Red Pill and so forth, whenever I see it, I literally have to click and tell them I never want to see this again, because it is quite intrusive. Even if you're not watching it, I'm pretty sure today, because I'm talking about it on my mobile device to make this video, that it may come up. And I will have to tell them, I do not want to see this. That is some of the most degenerate and self-sabotaging content, especially for people who are struggling with relationships, men and women. It does not help you at all. Everything that you are taking in, most people don't know how to take the meat and leave the bones. Unfortunately, it has been so overly saturated that it's practically become a graveyard. So none of the content that you're seeing right now is quality, because everybody has some sort of one-liner that they're just trying to get off. And it's not healthy to any sort of relationship or partnership that you're attempting to acquire in this life. I really feel like they all should be kicked off of social media. And that's just my own personal suggestion. It does nothing for no one, because you have opposing sides, or sides that are initially opposed, and you have creators curating more opposition. It does not help us. It does not help. And that's probably like the number one, outside of like the weird content creators that just do weird things, like the big mouth creators. I don't know why that gets under my skin so bad. But those big mouth, big bite, I don't know. I don't know why it does it to me, but it does. It just really makes my skin crawl whenever I see them. No offense to them. Make your money. However, between the dating and red pill and all of these other content creators, guys, do yourself a favor. Release yourself from the content. There is so much more content that we're able to watch and improve oneself, rather than a panel of single people telling people what type of, I guess, values to hold when it comes to relationships and advice. You're doing yourself a huge disservice. And it's no offense to those particular creators. No offense. As I said before, we all have to make our money. We all are trying to fit in somewhere to work exclusively for ourselves. I get it. We're all trying to put food on the table, and when it sells, it sells. But unfortunately, a lot of the degenerate content feeds off of your own degeneracy. Unfortunately, to say it that way, it feeds off of your own degeneracy. It feeds off of your own ignorance. And this is why it gets so many views, because we do have a lot of people that are not objective in thinking. They don't necessarily know how to be a free thinker or think for themselves. So they subscribe to these contents or these types of content in order to give themselves an amen corner. But don't you see that there is somebody making money off of you running on a hamster wheel? Just like your job, it's making money off of you clocking in, clocking out, running on that day-to-day hamster wheel. Content creators, they are clocking in and clocking you in and clocking you out of their hamster wheel that they've created for you. It doesn't help you. So here you are taking in all of this content only for someone to say, yeah, exactly. That's exact. You give yourself validation every time you click on a video. You give yourself validation. You slap yourself high five. I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew, you know, I thought that too. And I agree with that so much. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it when it's something that actually feeds your soul to become a better human being. But a lot of it doesn't. People partake in watching things like Baddies and the Zeus Network. And no offense to any of these particular streams of content that I'm naming out, it's just those are the things that come to mind. But you give your hard-earned money or your attention to these things, and you're not evolving as a human being. As a matter of fact, you're picking up more bad habits because you touched and agreed with whatever this content creator was saying, and they left you with nothing to elevate yourself. And as a matter of fact, even if they do, you usually discard that part and just say, okay, I was right about this particular part that resonated with me, and you go on with life. There is some accountability that is to be had on both ends, because at some point I feel like all of us get backed into a corner, whether it's the person that's watching or the person that's creating. And we never know what's going to go viral. We never know what's going to get us our newest subscribers or our most subscribers. And, for lack of a better term, we try to stay in that pocket so that the numbers keep growing, so that the viewership keeps growing, the subscribers keep growing, till we get to a point where we're making a living. But what does that do for the community? What does that do for the content space? What does that do for the people who are watching? It does nothing. It does nothing for anyone besides the person, I guess, profiting off of it. But eventually, that's why you see a lot of content creators, they say, oh, I had to take a break. I had to take a break. Things are going on. I had to take a break. The only reason that they're taking breaks most times, unless they're going on vacation or something like that, is because the niche that they've been pushed into and backed into a corner it's starting to feel like work, because they don't have the freedom of their full creative thought process. They don't have the freedom to go outside of whatever it is that they're doing. So they go right back into the pocket. When the viewership starts getting low and they try stuff different, they go back into the pocket, which is why we're getting a lot of repetitive content. Let us not forget TikTok, the TikTok challenges, quote unquote, when it's just 50 million people doing the exact same thing over the exact same beat, and you're going to watch it every time. You've seen 50 people do the same dance to the same song, the same part of the song, same steps, and you continue to watch it. I mean, I don't know what it is that we have to do or what leveling up of our mind that we have to reach in order to shift the algorithm around ourselves. Because I feel like a lot of people feel that way. I've seen countless number of subscribers who have tried to get out of their niche. But when those checks, those YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook checks just don't hit how they used to, I can understand how that can be a scary feeling. I can understand how that boxes you in. The thing that you did in order to basically quit your 9 to 5 has now made it impossible for you to fully explore your creative flow. I mean, that's all I have for now. I think I've done enough ranting. So please just drop down in the comments, share this video, like it, subscribe, so that, you know, other people and other content creators can be seen. Content creators that don't necessarily have the best viewership, so that they can be exposed, especially if they're giving you something to think about and elevate your thought process when it comes to who you are as a person. Until next time, guys, have a good night.